Hello and welcome to our web chat on Time for Treasury Transformation. API era is now. We are joined by Eric Kaplan, Vice President of Product Strategy with TreasuryXpress, who has a wide range of experience in corporate treasury departments, including GE Capital, PepsiCo, and in the TMS business with various suppliers. In TreasuryXpress, he's responsible for enabling corporate treasurers to achieve their strategic objectives by providing what they need. We'll be discussing the main drivers in the transformation of corporate treasury that are happening right now, starting with the previous experiences in achieving treasury automation. Now, these are the 5 main reasons that everybody seems to come up with. But Eric, what have you found in your experience, both in treasury and TMS supplies? What's the problem?
Yeah, thanks, Jack. I think that this slide really outlines a lot of what the problems are overall with achieving treasury automation from a historical perspective. And I've experienced that both on the vendor side and on the practitioner side as well. The 2 main seem to really be the lack of funding as well as the lack of time and resources. I've yet to come across a treasury organization that's overstaffed or that has excess funds. So having the ability to really find a solution that can adequately solve the issues that treasurers have, that is timely to bring to market and get everyone up to speed and trained on, as well as cost efficient, not only from a recurring cost standpoint, but also that one-time cost for deployment. Those tend to be 2 of basically the major barriers that I see across all organizations that are trying to achieve treasury automation. Again, Treasury doesn't always really have the ear of an IT department the way that FP&A or the ERP system does. So really, Treasury needs to find a way, if they're going to achieve automation, finding a way to work around some of these existing and legacy confinements.
So a new frictionless technology model is emerging, I sense. How do you see it? How does this work?
Yeah, so just to take a step back, if you look at the way that enterprise software and enterprise technology has evolved, it's kind of trailed a little bit behind what we've seen from consumer technology, where consumer technology is fast to deploy, it's relatively inexpensive from a cost standpoint, and it's very easy to use and very easy to adapt to. And we see that from everything from mobile phones and tablets and other different user technology. What the new frictionless model is really trying to accomplish is really trying to take in those components that we see from really more of the consumer business and bring that into the enterprise business. And what that means is basically using a newer technology that's highly affordable, that is really easy to understand, and that can integrate easily with multiple facets within your business. There's multiple technologies that most companies have. They all have different versions or different stages of their life expectancy within the organization. So having a frictionless technology is something that really is going to be able to plug in easily to existing as well as future technology that's used within the organization.
The big problem with this, though, is you've been talking about consumer apps and that type of thing. This is a different scale. Does this frictionless model scale?
Well, I think that's one of the main advantages of frictionless technology. And when we talk about frictionless technology, and not to get too technical, but really leveraging API as opposed to some of the older coding models, but really having this newer, simplified technology that really does provide scalability at a low cost, highly flexible, and highly time-effective manner, where frictionless technology has to scale. That's one of its main components, is being able to grow along with the business. When you're planning out on buying technology, one of the things that always makes a treasurer very nervous is they may know what they need now, but they need to also be able to plan for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years out. And they don't want to be coming to market to have to buy a newer technology. So there's always that concern of, if I'm buying what's best for my business now, am I also buying a technology that I can still use and leverage as the business grows and the business expands into using new technology? So the answer is yes, it's highly scalable.
And this scale is not just by size, but by complexity, yes?
That's absolutely correct. So it's not just working with, scaling into a larger organization, but if you think about a treasury department that maybe is just trying to start out and getting some automation around some of their bank connectivity and some of their payments, but they may grow into doing more FX management. They may have, newer technology that's emerging within the payment space of using blockchain technology, and they may want to be able to leverage that 3 years or 5 years down the road. That's something that's a little bit more complex from a technology standpoint, but not necessarily just larger. So we absolutely mean that scalability in terms of being able to handle more complexity as options grow and as companies really expand what falls underneath the Treasury purview.
So how are system suppliers achieving this? Obviously the answer is with APIs, but first question is, what is an API and how do they work?
Sure. So we'll address both of those. What an API is it's basically a small piece of code that can serve as more of a building block. So it's not necessarily a piece of code that does everything from beginning to end, but it really is a small malleable piece of code that is a building block, and you can connect multiple APIs together to be able to move in different directions. And so that really allows for flexibility, scalability, as well as a lot of cost savings when you're looking at technology. So the second point that we're bringing up here is really when it comes to using a treasury technology, it really kind of falls into two categories, which is one is the TMS provider and the second is the treasury professional. So from a TMS provider standpoint, why it's important to use a newer technology, specifically one that is leveraging API, is as fintech grows, you need to be able to have a system that can rapidly connect and build multiple chains to connect to multiple different systems. Not only what you have today, but what you're also looking for in the future. And you need to be able to do that in a rapid and cost-effective manner. The second part is from the treasury professional standpoint. So treasury professionals, their expectations should be and are and need to be that the technology is going to be flexible for them. It's going to be easy for them to use and adapt to, and that they can see the world of possibilities in front of them. Really what we're trying to drive with treasury technology is an enablement of the treasury professional. If they don't have that technology in front of them, they're not going to be able to meet all of the needs and expectations that they have within their organization. So this is really putting the onus on the treasury professional to demand something that is more flexible, more cost-effective, and more user-friendly for them.
So in a way, what we're talking about is future-proofing treasury automation for the treasurer, so they can do whatever they want, whichever way or direction they intend to take or they are forced to take.
That's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct.
And that leads you to really the key question here is, what about upgrades to these systems? How do you do an upgrade? Do you have to wait for version 6 before you can do this, or do you do it individually? How do you do upgrades?
Well, that's really the beauty about using this newer frictionless technology is upgrades are really continuous, and you don't necessarily need to bring a system down or put offline to push those upgrades out, and they go out to the universe of users that are out there. So instead of having a version and multiple versions that different clients are sitting on, where some need to upgrade and pull their system down and go through lengthy upgrade processes, the upgrades are continuous and they're seamless. So you may be, leaving work on a Wednesday night, and by the time you come in on Thursday, there's a couple new upgrades. Some are minor, some are a little bit more significant, that have been pushed out into the environment, and they're available for all the users across that shared technology. So really the upgrade piece is going to be critical, because what we know now is what we know now, but we also know that technology is rapidly changing, and having something that can upgrade quickly and rapidly is incredibly important. So there's not this idea of pulling the system down and then pushing it back up again. It's just constantly adding to it and upgrade.
So if this really is a transformation of corporate treasury, this automation changes corporate treasurers' lives. Is that right?
That's really true, Jack. So really, in the end, Treasury will continue to be drawn into this frictionless technology over the older on-premise or legacy SaaS providers that are out there. And as personal technology and UX has really continued to evolve, and as new generations join the workforce with different expectations, the TMS experience is going to rapidly change. We're going to have systems out there where the advancements are instantaneously available, they're easy to understand interfaces, they're highly affordable, and they're blazing fast. There's really going to be a significant transformation over the next 5 to 10 years within the Treasury technology space.